All right. Welcome to the 13th, I believe, Techspressionism virtual salon. Today is March 16th, 2021. We are in the midst of Women's History Month, which is the theme or subject matter of today's virtual salon. I'm Davonte Bradley, otherwise known as Davo. I'm the moderator. With me is Colin Goldberg, who kind of coined and kind of founded our whole little movement here, our little community. And today I'm actually not going to be talking too much because I'm actually going to pass the seat off to Roz, who kind of spearheaded the initiative of having pretty much our theme for today with Women's History Month. So you have the floor, Roz. Go ahead.
Oh, and can everyone that's not speaking please mute yourselves too,
yes,
if you don't mind?
That is also a thing I forgot.
Thanks, Davo. Yes, I thought it would be nice to, even though we do have a fairly nice representation of women and other countries in our artist index, I just thought it'd be nice to salute the International Women's Art History Month. And as a woman who has been working in this field for 38 years, I mean, I started in 1984 when my own paintings filled up with pixels. I like to salute those who have been in this industry and some of the young new people who I'm seeing on the Artist Index, which is what we focused on, because after all, this is the Techspressionism Salon. So all the artists who are presenting today are in the Artist Index, and we are going to be starting with, it doesn't really matter who goes first, depending on who wants to, but we are represented quite widely across the world by Negin Ehtesabian from Iran. Where's Negin? Maybe just raise your hand so people see you. Do I see? Oh, there you are. I couldn't even see. There's Negin. And also Negin and I actually ended up, we did an early collaboration in the first collaborative series that Davonte is curating, and we're looking forward to seeing that. Yay. And Diane Marsella is going to be speaking. She is located in, I think, Diane, where are you? Maybe you can, in Nashville?
I live outside of Nashville, originally from New York, but yeah, I live just outside of Nashville now, Tennessee.
Great. And also Sue Beyer will be speaking today from Melbourne. And we really appreciate you guys, because we know we're here in the United States and we have a few hours difference, but we know it's a much larger time span. So thank you for being here with us. I mean, we all know there's a lot of excitement and BS and real good stuff too going on in the digital world right now. But it is about time that the art world proper started to accept this this new medium that is just, you know, it is the medium that speaks to our time. I've been saying that forever, and I believe it wholeheartedly. And it's not just about technique, it is about expression and personal expression. So I'm hoping that this door that's opening right now will open to all the complexities and personalities that go into digital art. You know, it's much more than wallpaper here. So it's really different personalities. And I'm sure we'll be seeing that today. And with that, here's to women in technology. Oh, I want to say one more thing about that. Often in the past, women have been, you know, lagged quite far behind in terms of being recognized in fields, especially of art and science. Now that is changing a lot. And I'm hoping that these doors that are opening right now for Beeple and others who, wow, here's a hats off to Beeple, man. Wow, incredible. But that it'll also open to people across the rainbow spectrum. Maybe this is a door that's going to open a lot more than just what we've seen, but maybe a new kind of reality for artists and even for new collectors to come into the scene that aren't just the 2% at the top. I mean, people don't realize this, but Alice Guy was one of the early filmmakers, and no one even knows her name today. So, you know, we want to remember those who started it and who are continuing it. So with that said, here's to women and here's to the men too. Everybody actually, but because of this month, we're celebrating women. And Does anybody want to volunteer to start? Remember, don't get nervous. It just, it's a fun space we have here where we do serious stuff. But Negin, could you maybe start, or would you rather someone else start? Because you're in a round, or either Sue, I'm just thinking time-wise. And make sure you unmute.
I'd like to go a bit later, if that's okay.
That's fine. Negin?
Okay, I start. Good afternoon, everyone from 10 p.m. Tehran. I'm Negin Ehtesabian, and first of all, I want to thank you all for your great community. That it's such a welcoming and valuable group of artists that we can learn a lot from them and get to know many impressive artists. Especially for someone like me that most of my art practice has been traditional and illustration. And though I was using computer for my art for about almost 20 years, but mostly as a help tool rather than the real actual technique. So I was using it in the same way that you use pencil or other materials, but different that it's shiny, modern quality of it. So if it is okay, I start sharing some of my artworks and talk about it through that. Huh?
That's great.
Are you having my screen?
Yep, we could also see ourselves because the Zoom screen's up.
Yeah, we see ourselves on your screen. Oh,
There we go.
You go.
Yeah, okay. I am a visual artist and illustrator born and raised in Tehran, Iran. Studied visual communication at the University of Tehran, Fine Art Faculty and Animation at University of the West of England, Bristol. The biggest part of my art practice has been illustration, and I have had other experiences is design, painting, workshop leads, urban art, painting murals, ride design, intercultural art collaboration, and street art projects. About 35 of my children picture books has been published in different countries, and they have been awarded in several biennales and illustration art fairs. Between 2008 to 2012, I was leading the Iranian artist team in a series of collaborative intercultural new media art projects with some American artists that founded mostly by Morishine Allahiari that was shown in the US and Canada. And actually, it was my first steps into the new world of art today. It was also where I first virtually met Patrick, who married with 10 years later. And living with him and all the technology around him, along with all the gallery visits and many art discussions and even arguments, led me to a whole new understanding of art today, and it created the need of it in my art. We also collaborate together in art projects, art performances, and video. So now I want to talk about my new art project. The project I want to share today is my cartography visual music series. It all started when I was looking at one of my rug design maps very closely. These are my rug design, some of my rug design. And this is, and this is if I want to make it bigger, I cannot. So it is behind that. Sorry. And watching how amazingly these pixels lose their form as being a part of a bigger picture, and they start to exist as a independent, beautiful existence themselves when you get so close to them. So I was thinking about how each of these pixels are some moment of a viewer life who actually carry a person's feeling in them, but lost and forgotten in the big image of the whole rock. To me, it was a metaphor of people when they look so small and unimportant in the society or the history line, how we forget about so many wasted life in a victory. That is a beautiful picture, but all those knots also matter, but it seems sometimes we forget about them. On the other hand, when I was studying at UW Bristol, we had a collaborative art project with music student of Royal Academy of Art, London. My idea at the time was creating some personal coding system to it and compare different music pieces together. So I started with magnifying these rag maps, as you could see at the first. You could realize like a part of lips or a part of eye in them. Then I tried creating some codes to music notes and picture a part of a piece of music visually. So it's like when I was trying to put the notes in there. Then I went more emotional based and tried to picture what I was hearing and tried it in a different way. So it was more of sensation of the music. This one is the one I tried to write the notes and have some variation of it, and then I started to work with it more virtually. Then I share some of my Instagram page. Sorry, it's not opening. So I started to picture my emotional feelings, like as if any feelings. I should go to another. Sorry about that. Like as if any feelings we have in a moment was a music, how it would look like. I took a notebook for it and started a journal of cartographies to sketch the emotions before I make them into digital form. Actually, one other thought is that either if we think in pixels and codes, isn't it actually having a digital format? So it's like having a digital system of thinking or seeing things. So it was kind of a processing everything in digital format equally, make a computer, like computer chromesthesia experience, like this one. So I started to think of my emotions at the moment. I had like lucky to be here and I had this feeling, and I tried to see how these emotions demonstrate visually or like miraculous neighborhood with one of my friends, or he stayed up late. It was for Patrick, my husband, that for a reason he was staying up late for me. And so I was thinking about that, and I tried to make a map of it. So if you check my journal, it's all different thing. Yeah, or I was hearing to our dialogue with Ross, who I think she helped me a lot to feel welcome in this community. And I told her that you are like that kind of a spirit that every community needs. So I was thinking of that, and I was listening to our dialogue, and I was drawing that. So that's that. So that's my talking now. If you have any question.
Negin, that was wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think it would be nice to leave a few minutes here for people to talk about it. We want to leave room for other presenters. I love looking at your work and the expression of the pixels as that inner thing inside us, and it's changing the world right now, and the way you related it to people feeling alien to one another. You know, I mean, it's interesting that the word digit actually means touch. So we are able to touch each other, you know, with this medium. I love your new journals.
Thank you.
And if people have questions, I guess, Davo, how do you want people to raise their hand physically, or to put up a hand, or what should we do? Or do we have to go out of the screen share?
If anyone has any questions that like verbal questions that they want to ask, and maybe they're not the best at typing them, please do raise your hand and we'll get to you in order of those. If you're more comfortable writing your question, please feel free to throw them in the chat and we'll get to them as quickly as we can. All right, and we have our first question from Michael Price. So,
Negin, I really love your work. It feels a little bit symbolic in ways that I can relate to. I was curious about the actual symbols that you've used and the colors. And if you could just say a little bit about that in terms of where those inspirations come from.
Thank you. Well, for the first step, when I was if you hear voices, it's not the war here. It's Charshamba Suri Festival, because we celebrate the last Tuesday night here. So if you hear some fireworks, don't worry. First step, when I was working on the rugs and magnifying the maps, I was choosing one color equal to the map color. So in the next practice, when I was doing the music piece, I was doing some research about visual music that I have done before, and a lot of different musicians and artists choose each color for each notes. It's like kind of decided that this color is for this note. So I tried to get some shade of that color for that note. And also the shape for me was like, if it was a sharp sound like pizzicato, I used like triangle. If it was like a soft hit or soft longer you say sound, continuous, I used more round and softer form. Then also for the feelings, I thought like that, like if you think, or it is question or it's just experiencing these feelings, I try to actually see those as a music and see that music as colors and shapes. So for me also it's sometimes surprising when I finish that and I see which forms more, which of forms I use more, or
Ah,
how color it looks like. It's kind of watching my inner um, picture at the moment too.
thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Any other questions before we go on?
I have a comment more than anything. I love your work, and I'm really struck because I love fabric and have done all kinds of stuff with fabrics and rugs and things like that. But I love how you've taken the sense of fabric, which is often used as a personal envelope around the person. It's personal in its sense that it's manufactured. And yet you brought it into this emotion of music, and it's like you've enveloped the fabric around in a code, almost like a heartbeat being the base of music. So I love how you're bringing all these different layers into your work. Well done.
Yeah, great work. Beautiful work.
I have a question, if that's permissible.
You may proceed.
Okay, yeah, are you, you seem to be referencing the history of the grid in 20th century painting, and also traditional art in Persia. How much are you thinking about that relationship?
You mean the history of art in my culture?
Well, it seems to me in your culture, there's a long history of the grid. Obviously, it overlaps with textile art and rugs, but in a lot of the world in the last 100 years has been a lot of painting involving the grid and making a grid design, and you seem to be combining those two, which is very interesting.
Yeah, actually, that's very interesting what you say, because the grid for art is so ancient in Iran because of the fabrics, pictorial fabrics, and also all these architecture designs. So they all had maps, and they all was doing in grids. So that's actually so much for me. It is so much like our society or our history, like all these grids and pixels were in different colors and put together and make this beautiful picture of the like art and culture, but each of them were individuals that are forgotten or never been seen actually. So a lot of times artists in our history didn't even have a sign or name, or no one knows them. So only the big picture stayed, not the people. So for me also bringing that into digital art is like the society or the culture that changed, but the grids are the same. We just see them in a different point of view. So for me, it's not like a different thing. It's like the same thing, but in a different approach. I don't know if you got what you wanted to know about it. Thank you.
All right. If anyone, if there are no further questions, I think we can go right ahead into our next presenter for today, which, Roz, would that be
It's either going to be Diane Marsella. Diane, can you go next? And I think that, Negin, thank you. That was wonderful, really
Yeah.
wonderful.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so
you could
much.
stop your share. So that might be good if you can unshare.
I haven't stopped. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was nice to look at your work while we talked about it. I thought it was great that it was up there
Yeah.
while we spoke.
Thank you.
Art needs to be looked at a while. So is it possible, Diane,
Yes, ma'am, I'm ready. I have to
Great.
tell you though, I wish I'd gone first because I don't think I want to follow Negin's work. I should have gone first, but beautiful. And the decomposition and the recomposition of the essential elements of the work is absolutely fascinating. So, okay, I promised Colin I'd keep my presentation moving, and I'm going to share my screen now. All right, so I started out, can everybody see that first image?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, great. All right, so I started out a photographer, kind of a Felix Unger, weddings and portraits, a specialty. And as a photographer, you know, it's kind of a lonely art. You're always observing somebody else's activity. So in those down times, you take your camera and you find interesting things. You start to notice things like, and I just work in Photoshop. And since I was a photographer really all my life, you start to learn a lot about people, and that really people are all the same, whether you're sitting in the back of a Catholic church or a synagogue. People really all are the same. We come from the same, we're one race. So I started looking into how this compares to our cultural myths, the Judeo-Christian myths, the Greek and Roman myths, and how they could be translated by using some essential just images of something. These are all from photographs that I've taken, and then I take them in a photograph, and we go down the rabbit hole, so to speak. I don't have any preconceived notions about what my work's going to look like when I finish it, but as it starts to form, I say, what could this be? The beginning image of this was some ice crystals on my windows. I waited for my car to warm up, and I thought, wow, how beautiful those are, and yet how destructive they can be. And that became Boreas, which was the god of the north wind. This is, I don't really have a lot philosophically to say about what I do. I think my process is fairly simple, except as I started to move forward toward this year with the political environment, I started to want to say more about, you know, I work one of those real staid sort of jobs where I really can't go to protests without getting fired. So I did it in my art instead. I started to show my rage and what I felt I could do. What could I say to somebody who is just being maybe beaten or treated wrongly simply because they want equal rights? So my art started to kind of reflect that, mixes of organic and the inorganic of the actual pixels. And I have to say, when I first found the group, I had applied to a show on Call for Artists, and I never thought that I would, when Colin emailed me and said, hey, we got this little group going, what do you think? And I have to tell you, since I've been, you know, listening to some of not only the great artists of this movement, but founders, I'm actually rather humbled to be part of you guys. I hope I can somehow contribute something that other people will go, hey, that's a really cool thing. These are,
Diane,
Yeah.
I'm going to
Yes,
interrupt
ma'am.
really for a quick,
Ma'am.
yes, ma'am. Oh my goodness. I'm from
Sorry,
Atlanta
it's
Georgia
just
originally.
habit.
That's sweet. Yeah, there has been a request because your work looks really beautiful to make it
Thank you.
bigger, and you're probably planning on doing that, but just letting you know, people are hungry to see it.
What do you mean make it? Can you not see it full screen? Is that what's not happening
Seeing
here?
little picture, we're seeing all your
Oh,
ones.
really?
Yes, we haven't, I wasn't sure if you were doing that.
No, I've got
really
it
love
full
technology.
screen. Oh, that's
Here.
really annoying, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's all right. but
How do
yeah,
I,
let's try to-
how do I do that? Oh, that's a darn good question, isn't it? All right.
Well, maybe when you
I'm a
share your
moron.
screen, if you don't share the whole desktop, you can't get to everything. So you could either unshare and try again,
Oh,
or you can
geez.
double click on these and, or select them all and double click to go through them. Not sure what's the
Okay.
best way. Maybe
Yeah, I
Davo
don't
has a
know.
suggestion.
I mean, I've got, oh, vey, it just, all right, I'm gonna stop sharing and try to share again. Oh, it's so
Take
frustrating.
your time. Just pick the screen that
I
you can
know.
work with, you know. I mean, if you pick the whole desktop,
Well-
you should be able to see it.
Well, I just have the folder. I mean, I opened up I put a folder together and, I've double clicked it and you're still seeing a small image.
Well, now you're not sharing at all. You have to go back and share.
Oh, Lord
Don't
have
worry.
mercy.
We've all done this stuff. It's no big deal.
Of course, and of course I'm recording, so it just sounds like it just,
Okay.
just being just
It's community.
just, yeah, you're very kind, ma'am. All right. Okay, I don't want scheduling. Why? See, I told you I shouldn't have gone for a second. See, okay. All right, now it's just embarrassing. Okay. I was over here somewhere. All right, so you're not seeing a big image.
Nope.
You're seeing a whole.
We're seeing the whole screen of all the little images. It looks like it's.
Well, that's just stupid, isn't it? Oh,
don't.
No, I'm real frustrated now.
Your folder might be at the bottom where you have to double click it. I don't know if you're on a Mac.
No, I'm on a PC.
Hmm.
I have a question for it. Do you have two
Yeah.
monitors or just one monitor?
No, just one, sir.
So it's just one monitor. When you
Just
click
one.
screen share, did you
Yeah.
click capture the window or do you capture your
Well,
desktop?
I'm gonna stop. I feel like it's remedial 101. Okay, I just hit screen share and then what do? Okay, it
After
just
you
says
hit screen share, you go in, it gives you an options of what you
Yeah.
can select. So
Oh,
so select either if you select the whole desktop, and Devo, correct me if I'm wrong, if you select the whole desktop, you have options to go into whatever you want to do on your desktop, you're open.
hold on a
If you
second.
just
Hold on
select
a
one
second.
screen, you're kind of locked in
Hold
there.
on a second. I think I got it. Hold on. Hang on.
I think you got it because we see the entire
Is
screen.
that
not
a
just the
bigger
window.
screen now?
Yeah.
Is that a bit?
There we go.
You guys are very patient. Thank you. Okay, so all right. So you've seen some of my okay. All right. Anyway, I'll go to my more current work since I've kind of wasted 6 minutes of your time. I'm sorry. Thank you for your help. Okay.
It's okay. Still we're able to see your work, just not big, but we could get the answer.
I'm sorry. I'm glad you said something, Roz. Thank you. All right. So I don't, this one is entitled, yeah, I've just lost it, Nero. And of course, this was after our former, I don't want to call him a leader because he wasn't, because as Nero burned as he fiddled while Rome burned, while our cities were burning and our people were being massacred, Drumpy was out playing golf and I was outraged. And so it kind of came across in my art. This was actually on election day. This one is called Ascent from Madness, because I thought it was the first breath of air that a lot of us could feel we could take after 4 years of going, oh my God, what's he gonna do next? And then Sedition Day came and they tried to take down the government. And I was outraged again, but I knew it would be okay because I've been telling my family for 4 years we'll be okay. And then I got to the point where I just thought my sanity was just eroding. And I felt just tension all around. And how do artists, you know, convey that to the world? It's our visual or our music. And then when I got to the breaking point, which is this one. And this one is sort of a, just before it got normal again, the radiance of 1,000 suns, a quote that I have appropriated from, I think it was Professor Oppenheimer. I think that was the quote he said when he saw the atom bomb go off for the first time. What have we done? And this is a lot of red because this is falling from grace as they're all just sort of sliding off into the abyss, which is where I hope. Sono la tempesta, this is sort of my theme. It means I am the storm, because as females, I know we're all tired of being told to sit in the back and don't let your opinion be known. Be a good girl and go do that. And no, I'm sorry, that's not who we are, and that's just not acceptable. And then these are a few that I've just finished recently. These are some old pieces that I decided to rework. Again, just using the same technique, Photoshop, moving layers around, creating layers. This was the most recent one, and coming back to beginnings, Genesis Revisited. I like the wave as a recurring theme, or the wave shape and recurring theme in my work, because you know, we all have come from the sea. It is life, it is also destruction. It depends on your point of view. And that's what I'm working on. And thank you so much for allowing me to share. And 9 minutes, not bad, but 6 minutes was, yeah, just goofy. So I apologize for that. All right, I'm gonna turn off my screen now. And
thank you, Diane.
thank you, ma'am. Appreciate the share.
We enjoyed listening to it and looking at your work. If anybody has any questions.
Yep, same format from before. If you have any questions, you can type them into the chat box or raise your hand if you have a question you'd like to say with your own voice. Either way, we're open for comments. Or if you don't even have a question, you just have a remark to say or share with Diane about her work, that's completely okay too.
Just be kind, because I did muck up the first 6 minutes, guys. So be kind.
I think Colin had written he was interested in the source images for some of the political, but maybe you spoke to that somewhat. I don't know if that's what Colin was asking though exactly.
No, it's a good question. The source images are never related to the finished product. Sometimes I do some local art shows because, like you talked about before, Roz, it's time for people to take the abstract digital serious. And you know, I live in a red state, and it's a blue area, but it's kind of a red state, and they're real traditional down here. And when I tried to approach some galleries down here, and I was told with a very polite guffaw, "Oh, we're not looking at abstract photography, thanks very much." So, but somebody had said to me to show, "Hey, why don't you put the original image next to the finished?" And I thought about that, and I went, "Nah, because the original image is not related to the finished." What I look at, Colin and everybody, is I look at design and movement in anything. It could be, you know, crystal shining through a glass, or frost on my window. I look at that and I go, "Ah, that's really cool." And I'll take an image of that, and then I'll throw it in my folders, and I don't touch them for a bit. And then I'll go back and go, "Oh, what can I make out of that?" So I take a finished image of something. I just look at pure design, which is completely the antithesis of what I've done my entire life. I was a photographer. I was a photo finisher. Everything. I was, you know, I'm a portrait painter. So it's completely opposite of what I've done. I take a finished image. I appreciate good photography, but to me, the finished photograph isn't enough, because if I can't reinterpret what I see, then why am I doing this? It's a quick snap, and I go, it's pretty. I don't know if that answered your question all, or I just ramble a bit. I hope I answered. Good. All right. Cool. Thank you.
Anne has a question for you.
ma'am.
She wants to know is your beginning the manipulation process or of the original image? Like, is that where you start?
I just look at an image and I'll just go scrolling through my images and I say, I'm kind of feeling that one today. I'll throw it into Photoshop. Sometimes I take just a section of the image because I like the particular design or the contrast or the movement. And then I'll crop that. And then I'll start working with that. And then it's kind of a, it's a metamorphosis. I don't know where it's going to take me. Some pieces come together very quickly. Some pieces I labor on, and sometimes I look at them, I'll start with 15 or 20 layers and I'll go, oh, this is just awful. And I just delete the whole thing and start all over again. Because I had a drawing instructor who once said, it's not precious, it's just dirt on paper. You can start again. It's kind of how the image hits me at the time. I don't start out with an idea and go, okay, this one's going to be political. If I had a rough day at work, I usually create a piece when I get home.
Okay, thank you so much, Diane. We really
Thank you.
enjoyed looking at your work. There's
Appreciate
one piece in there, some big red wings that come out or something that, I don't know, it just really strikes me as a very, very powerful image.
That one's 9/11.
Oh, is
So
it?
I'm glad that evokes a strong emotion.
It's a
You know,
nice piece.
Thank you. I wasn't in New York when the planes hit, but I'm a New Yorker, and that was my city that was attacked. And you know, every year, you know, I knew somebody who lost his life in the tower. It's something that I don't think any of us have ever gotten over. And that one is, you know, I knew some firefighters who work there. I know people who are sick from it afterwards. It's something that's going to affect us forever. And again, what am I? I'm just an artist. I'm a stupid, dumb photographer. What did I have to contribute to what these people did? So if I can contribute one piece that moves somebody, I go, yeah, okay, I'm okay with that. So thank you. Thank you.
Nice, humble approach. You don't hear that often with artists these days. And it's nice because we are, I mean, we are, I have a feeling that we're like sort of the shamans that are painting the cave wall of what's going on for people to wonder at.
Agreed. Absolutely. Agreed.
So we're not like this, oh, we are the great ones, you know. I mean, once in a while you get a great one, you know, but not every work is a masterpiece, and we have to be critical of our work and others. So thank you so much. So our next presenter will be, unless that's all the questions, I think, yes, Sue Beyer from Melbourne, Australia. We're so glad you're here. Are you still here with us? Are you snoring yet?
Yes, I'm still awake.
Just because you're tired, not that the work hasn't been great.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for inviting me. It's I feel like I found my people. I've been watching a few of the videos on YouTube, and I can really relate to what everyone's work is about. And I'm seeing a lot of my work and everyone else's work. So it's been really nice to watch some of those videos. Okay, so I've not used Zoom before, so just I'm going to share my screen, and then I'm going to go to the desktop, Firefox.
Now, remember when you share, you have to click share. That's always been one thing I always forget to do is click share.
Okay. Okay, so can everyone see my website with pictures?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. So I've just tell you a bit of a background of my life. So I grew up on a farm in regional Queensland, and it was very pretty backward. This was in the 70s. It was very racist and not a very nice place. So I used to spend a lot of time just in my bedroom drawing, doing my own thing. And as soon as I was old enough, I escaped that environment, went to the big city, I always wanted to be an artist, but I didn't think that I could be. So I became a graphic designer because I needed to earn some money. So I worked in advertising for 10 years and I hated it. And then I had an opportunity to go back to uni, and I did my undergrad in fine art, and then did honours, and then moved to Melbourne. So, and then now I've just done my MFA about 2 years ago, and I set up a set of studios. We've got a little gallery, and I do live drawing sessions. So we did live drawing last night, and we do it on Saturday morning. We have openings once a month, and it's a really great space. So my work, when I started my MFA, I was making work that I wasn't happy with, and I didn't have a direction. I was just sort of floundering around a bit. I was lucky enough to go to San Francisco on a study exchange in 2007. And when I was there, I did a course called Conceptual Strategies, and I learned about physical computing, and we used processing and Arduino and all these really fun little gadgets. And I've always used the computer because of the design background, but I found that the programming and the electronics was sort of like, I really enjoyed it because it was like problem solving, and it was just exciting because you never knew what was going to happen. So when I got back to Australia, there wasn't anyone doing it at the time. My university was a bit not that great, and so I sort of let it go. But when I went to do my MFA, I had an opportunity to just reset my art practice, basically. So I thought, okay, I'm going to be doing this for 2 years. What am I going to do? And I thought, what are the things I love? So I love painting, I love programming in electronics, and I love roller skating. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do an MFA about all these things. So I decided to look at liminal space. I was sort of already looking at liminal space in a way, but for my MFA, I really honed down on that topic. And when I talk about liminal space, the main thing I'm looking at is transformation. So in a nutshell, I won't go into what liminal space is, but so what I did was I got the movie Xanadu from my childhood, which was a real escape for me. I love Olivia Newton-John, and it was so romantic, and roller skating. I just loved it. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do, my thesis is going to be about me, basically, more like an exegesis, really. And so I grabbed the movie Xanadu and I started transforming it using programming, performance, glitching, data moshing, painting, whatever I could think of. And yeah, I was using instruction-based art to transform the movie. So here are some images from my MFA. So these are just, I would glitch the movie and grab screenshots and print them or keep them as images. This one is the movie Xanadu from start to finish. I think I've seen this a lot on the internet lately, this sort of thing. I did a performance like on roller skates with a green screen and using Snapchat as my background. That was fun. And I actually sing along to the song. So I'll just... So it's meant to be really daggy and awkward, because in my MFA, I was really using that and just being myself and not really caring what anyone was thinking. So that was a fun part of it. Some more glitches. So this is 2019, and projection. I want to do a lot more with projection. Glitching. And this is one that my internet connection might not be so good. So using the movie.
Yeah, is that supposed to be
making
good things, Sue?
collages from processing.
Yeah. We may have trouble seeing some of the video, to your point.
That's what I like about making work from digital processes. You never know what you're quite going to get. And then I was grabbing crops from the image, the glitches, and really blowing them up, making paintings. This is my MFA show. I printed out the movie Xanadu in hexadecimal. It was 14,500 pages. I used Hexfiend to do that. And my printer could only print about 6 pages at once. So it took me a long time to do that. It took about 6 months to print this one out. I've still got it. Don't know what I'm going to do with it. This was a little glitch that I presented using a Raspberry Pi. And this one was bought by a government art collection, which was really exciting. More glitches. My whole exhibition had glittery silver foil curtains. It was quite fun. I do a lot of video and present things on iPhones and iPads. I use the LED matrices to present some work because I like the pixelation and how it further transforms an image. So these were very popular. The only thing is you have to program the Raspberry Pi to actually make the work run. So one lady bought one and I had to give her a 10-page PDF on how to set it up. But she got into it, so a true collector. That just shows all the little wires and everything. Yeah, so all of these made using processing, and I wanted to present the actual, the program, because with instruction-based art, the program is the art, not the outcome of the program. So I presented the programming as well. And I did a performance. I actually sang Xanadu while roller skating in the gallery. There's little, you can see the disco balls. It was really fun. Everyone thought I was crazy. There's my skates. And I did that for about 2 hours with headphones on, singing really loud and really badly. That was fun. Yeah, so I did my MFA. That was the sort of work I was making. And then I started setting up the studio. It took me about a year. I did it from scratch. I have no money, so it was it's all artist run. And then COVID hit and we had to close because we all went into lockdown straight away. We were in lockdown for, I think, 3 months. It was really hard. And just before that, the fires hit. So it was just, I'm going to swear, it was a shit show. It was just so overwhelming. And I mean, you guys have been through, everyone's been through the same thing. But in response to the fires, I started making these works. I was looking at other Australian artists and who's come before and what were they talking about. And I was really angry with the way the government responded to the fire situation. Our country was burning and our Prime Minister was in Hawaii. It's very familiar. I mean, it's very similar to the Orange Man that you guys just got rid of. And it just made me really angry. So I decided to start making work talking about our society and how there's still all the same problems there were when the other artists in the 50s and 60s were making work. And so there's this one artist in Australia called Arthur Boyd, and he's well loved, and all the politicians, you know, collect his work, but they don't care about what his work was about. They don't listen, nothing's changed. So I decided to use, he's already said what I want to say, so I thought I'd use his work and transform it, because we were seeing a huge transformation of the country in the landscape, and then with COVID, our society. So I'm using everything he said in my work. So I started grabbing his work and transforming it like I did with the movie Xanadu. And I came up with these works, and I really got into it. So I just continued making more works. They've been really popular, and I actually got a gallery during COVID, which was really weird. So COVID was really hard because we were in lockdown so long, but it was actually really good for my art practice because I got time to spend in the spend in the studio and just make work without having to worry about going to work. I entered a few things. This one was shown in New York for the in a place called Lightbox, I think it's called. And so it was a three-dimensional, like it was projected 360 degrees. It looked, and they sent photos of people sitting in there. It looked really cool. And I've just done these other works. I started doing prints on mirror, which was really interesting because I couldn't afford to make electronic works. I thought, how can I do this without using electronics? So I did some of those little paintings, big paintings.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So are you using open processing or are you using processing 3?
I think
The cloud version or the download version?
Download version.
Okay. Do
Yeah.
you share your code anywhere in any
No.
creative site? Okay.
I usually, because I'm not really a programmer,
Yeah.
I don't really know how to do it. Like when I was doing it in 2007, we were doing it from scratch.
Yeah.
But I was doing it all the time. So I was really getting into it and starting to write my own stuff. But because I'm not doing it all the time, you know how you just, if you're not doing something all the time, you just lose all that skill.
Yeah.
And because it's programming, it's using the other side of the brain, and it's just, I have to be doing all the time to really,
Sure.
like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you have any source file recommendations of some like original files you started with or some tutorials?
Yes.
Because I think my
Yes, I
students would be
do.
really interested in this.
Okay. Contact me after and I can give you a big list because
Okay,
I've kept
great.
all my references from my thesis. So
Thank
I
you.
can give you heaps of stuff.
Awesome.
Heaps and heaps.
I'm looking on your website and you have these beautiful stand-up like lit looking
Oh, yes.
pictures. Will you
Okay.
show those and maybe talk about that or how
Yes,
that
yes. I just did a show at a place in town in Melbourne. And, you know, those little matrices, I was doing those small ones. I mean, even those are quite expensive. I've been trying to buy them from China because you can get them on that online place,
AliExpress or Alibaba?
That's it. Yes. So I've been buying stuff off them and hoping that when it comes, it actually works because sometimes, you know, it's not
Sure.
as good quality as what you hope. But like I've been selling paintings and my new gallery's really great. Like they're very, you know, it's not the best gallery. They're very commercial, but they sell my work, which is so good. And so I could afford to buy one of these big displays. It's actually about 2 meters high. So maybe
7 feet tall.
6'4" or something, I don't know. And about 600 centimeters wide. So maybe about 2 foot wide, something like that. And it cost me a fortune. It was very expensive. And it took me like 2 months to decide whether to get it or not. These are the same things that they make the big billboards out of.
It's an LED screen.
Yes, yes. So you can join 10 of these together and make a big wall. It'd be really cool to do that, but it would cost about $50,000. So this was about 5,500 Australian. So maybe about 4.5 US, I think. And I had to pay customs as well, which really sucked. But I'm so glad I got it. It looked amazing. It was very hard to document because taking photos of the screen, just the colors weren't as bright. But yeah, I want to try and get into public art and do like the side of buildings and stuff like that. But you know, who knows? Yeah, so that was from my exhibition about a month ago, this one. So I've got a show in Sydney in October I'm working towards now. And yeah, it's pretty popular. I've had a really good response. For these ones, the mirrored ones, I'm getting some aluminium frames powder coated to like red, green, like really bright colors. And I want to start doing some more LED screens, but in 3 dimensions. I watched a video of someone yesterday that did spheres of LEDs and little boxes. And I'd love, because in China, you can get them made to any dimensions you want. You can do circles. I'd also like to do a wall with big gaps in it. And yeah, maybe a 3-dimensional thing, I don't know, but we'll see what happens. Yeah. So my art practice is very process based. You never know what's going to come out at the end, although with the paintings I plan everything before because I'm using linen and it's really expensive, so I always plan the paintings. But you know, the colors may change slightly, but I always know pretty much what I'm going to do before I do it. I use instruction and I use post-internet and post-digital strategies. So it's all about using those tools, but it's not about that. So it's more about society, greed, just the destruction of our landscape. It's pretty political, but it doesn't look like it is. Yeah, so I'm going to stop sharing. I have an Instagram. It's got all my latest work. So if you want to, I can put links up to my work if anyone's interested. I'm just so happy to find you guys. As soon as I found out about it, I was really excited because no one else I know where I am is doing this sort of work and with the same with the same intention. So yeah, I was really excited. Oh yeah, and I sold 2 NFTs, so I was really happy about that. Yeah, crazy shit. Like, yeah.
Yeah, girl.
Oh, I just can't believe it. It's so exciting. It reminds me of the internet in the 90s. It's just, I love a bit of anarchy. So good. Bit of chaos. I just hope that it goes in the right direction and we can use it in a positive way. Yeah, but I'm really excited about it. So,
Sue,
yeah.
that was fabulous. Thank you so much.
I was really nervous.
I love the roller skating and the,
I know.
fun. I mean, art can be fun. It can be serious. It can be tragic. You know, I mean, one of the things lately one of my things that I call out to curators is like, hey, do the homework, find out about these things, you know, dig deeper into art and connect the dots. I mean, we all have different lives and some of us might paint the same thing for all our lives, but not really. It's more like Gerard Richter, who, you know, he painted all over different things. And just your story, you know, listening to you, it's great. But I challenge the curators in this field to listen to Techspressionism and come in and hear what these artists are doing. It'll, you know, some curators, at least through the 90s and even beyond in New York City, in the traditional art world, I think they're rather threatened because when you don't know a field, it's kind of hard to speak about it. So I'm putting a call out there to these young curators, you know, women, men, all colors, all stripes, to get into this and help the world access. You know, we're here to bring access. We're not here to be the elite far away. You know, it's
exactly.
I mean, the only elite thing should be it should be as great as we can do. Oh, and I think Carter Hodgkin is the one you might have been watched. She's here. Thanks. Hi, Carter.
Oh, okay.
Who did project on, wasn't that you, Carter, who projected on a square? Or you guys might want to connect.
Yes, I'd love to connect with you.
Yeah, I saw the work and just said, oh my God, someone else is doing what I'm doing. It's so good.
Yeah, I just grabbed your website so we can trade.
Yeah, that'd be great. Also, I've got a little gallery in our studio space, and I want to curate a show in November. So on digital work, it doesn't have to be digital, but with a digital aesthetic. So I might contact everyone about that as well. Yeah, I need to start organizing that. It goes for 2 weeks in November. Yeah, so yeah, if anyone's interested, like I might just put something together, a little proposal where people can, you know, send me.
Great.
If they want to do it.
Yeah. Should she be in touch with you or just come? How do you?
I was thinking, you know, like of this idea actually a while ago where, you know, people in different, since, you know, it started in the US, but we do have people from like 30 different countries now. And I thought it would be cool. I mean, part of the sort of goal, as at least just from my point of view, is to try to bring this term Techspressionism into common usage and make it into a thing that people can talk about as easily and freely as surrealism or expressionism. Or, you know, Helen Harrison from the Pollock House did a really good job of sort of framing it in the recent video, like within the history of expressionism. So I started thinking, you know, if people in a particular place want to organize their own sort of, you know, group shows, or even get a bunch of people together around this idea, that sort of, you know, I think will really help the meme kind of spread, is if there's these sort of local clusters, you know, and I think it's something where there are a couple Australian artists. There's one guy, Andy Young, who I think is in and is it Andy Young or Andy Thomas?
Is it the poet?
Definitely an Andy. He's in the Artist Index in Australia, and he does just the most ridiculous animations. I mean, they are just unbelievable. Let me just see. He was in a salon pretty recently. Let me just see. Andy Thomas. I'm gonna just post a link to his Instagram in the chat, because his work, one of the people involved early on kind of brought him to my attention, and he's in Melbourne also. So
cool.
Yeah, but so he's someone that definitely is local, and then there's one other Aussie in there.
Oh yeah, I looked up that guy on Instagram. It's pretty amazing, his work. God. Yeah.
He does stuff with like bird sounds and visualizes them and stuff like that. But I think, you know, it'd be really cool to you know, because I mean we have a physical exhibition planned for 2022 here on Long Island, where I'm located right now. But it would be
doing that, and I want to come over if we can travel. I'm dying to travel. So if that happens, I'm totally up for that. I want to come over.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. It really, you know, I think it makes a big difference to have international participants, you know, or have it be as international as possible. I think that's what really makes this interesting.
Yeah, it's great.
So.
Colin, can I interject and let everyone know about your talk next week?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Hi, so I'm Brandon at the University of Wyoming, and Colin is actually giving an invited artist talk next Thursday, March 25th at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And I'm going to put the RSVP link. It's going to be on Zoom, and it's for our school and our students and our faculty, but it's open to the public. And I'll put the link to RSVP for the Zoom webinar, and then it'll send you the link and the password to log in. So that's next Thursday evening. Thank you.
Great.
Thanks, Brett.
Yeah. Does anybody have, before we go on, any other questions for Sue, that was so fun and great. Wonderful to see your process. And I don't know, I'm kind of an old fogey, so glitch. I go glitch. I don't know. I don't know the process of glitch, but I don't want to get too into it. I should probably do some homework, but I love the way it looks, sort of like AI or something.
Hi, I'm Mary Ellen Latino. I have a question. I wasn't sure with your glitching when you did the paintings over it. Was that literal painting or was that digital?
Oh, they're actual paintings.
That's what I thought, but I wasn't.
Yeah, you can see them in the background. Like there's just one there. Yeah, paintings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Some, although I did do some prints as well, but yeah.
Sue, another question I had was when you were taking the imagery of the other guy, Boyd, somebody in Australia, does he know or does he welcome it or what's the exchange?
He's actually passed away, but one of his family members friended me on Facebook. So I think they're okay about it. I'm doing it in a very respectful way. So I'm hoping that no one gets offended. But,
I love that concept. Yeah, I think it's interesting.
There's an artist, who was it? Oh, there's an artist that also does giant paintings with a lot of pixels. And I wanted to glitch some of his work, but he's alive, living. So I might contact him and see if he'd mind if I did it. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I think that's great. You know, appropriation. I mean, it's part of what we're able to do. I mean, look at the music industry. It's been doing covers forever. Yeah. And I think personally, I think the whole thing about it is contacting the person, you know, and when I do these Diamondscape pieces of mine, I'm putting in images from all other people. But the key thing is that I'm bringing them into the vocabulary of the work that I'm doing, which is, you know, we're starting to do novels of images of images of images of images that make an image. And so bring everybody into the fold. And I think that'll be a big difference. And in the early days, honestly, in early digital, it's like, oh, you took mine and the suits going on in the early 90s. And you know, we need to open it up to be a larger intellectual and validated situation. Yes. And I think that's asking people. So I just thought it was a good thing to bring up.
Yeah.
Sue, do you work differently for the imagery that is projected, the light images versus ones that are print images? Like different color palettes or anything like that?
Not really. It's all up to chance what comes out. The moving videos that I've got as NFTs, I project those ones and they look amazing. But it's all in the process and it's sort of like the computer decides what is going to happen and what colors are there. And then I decide whether I like it or not. So. Okay,
because I was just curious because as I print all my imagery, I work digitally, but I have found over the years, and I still am surprised sometimes that sometimes an image will look maybe not as good or even better than what I saw on the computer or the size affects it. And I was curious for those things that you're illuminating, whether or not you go through a process that changes over time to get something that you kind of have a gut feeling that's going to work or not.
I suppose it does change over time because each work comes from the work before. So in a way, so in the past, I've been doing a lot of video and motion graphics, I suppose you call it. And the aesthetics from a few pieces would lead into each other. So yeah, it does in a way. Yeah. But
okay, I was just curious.
Yeah, it's like I've got the painting and that's got its own thing happening. And then I've got the video and GIFs and JPEGs and that's got its own thing. Yeah. It's like two streams.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
On my Instagram, there's some photos of projections that I've done. The work that Steve bought,
Well, make sure you keep roller skating, Sue. You got to have fun
Yes.
out here. I once did a show where we blew up pink sofas. We blew them up. They're plastic furniture on the Lower East Side. This is in the, like, I think it's year 2000. And we projected, I had a projection of flash shockwave animations coming out of a circle in a little box that we made, like a little mirrored box. And everybody sat on the pink plastic couches. We went into this room with this glittery, awful gold lame to go into the special room. And you sit on the pink couches and look up at the projections of things like, Perrier and Coca-Cola. And they were all making fun of the fact that water is now, it was free for 2 million years, but no longer. And it's fun. I mean, you can bring fun into art, it's while making a very serious statement about
Exactly.
the
Actually,
things.
that was the feedback I was getting from my MFA exhibition. It was joy, like full of joy, and people were posing in front of the projection, and all the kids were running around. It was great. Yeah, it was really good.
I think Ann Spalter's castles have that hopeful thing in them, and I don't know if that's something that I don't tend to go think so much in groups, even though I love saluting women and think they deserve their place. But I do think women may bring a certain different perspective to things sometimes, but I would open that up to the men too, to their joy. Yeah, joy is always born of tragedy and comedy. So that's a deep one.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was great to hear.
No worries. Thank you for asking me to come along.
You're welcome. I also want to just have a shout out here to someone I haven't seen in a long time, Victor Acevedo. He's joining us here, and Victor and I, we go back many, many years. He's been in California. He's done lovely work. I even have, my husband and I own a print of his. It's so nice to see you, Victor. I'm glad you're joining us, and I'm hoping we can keep more women, at least on the March 30th thing, but maybe you could present your work at some point. It might be.
Sure. Thank you.
You and I go back to the early 90s or even earlier, maybe. I don't know.
Rico Maresca Gallery. I seem to remember. I forget the name of that show, but that's about the time when I first met you.
Yeah, that was a show I curated for them called Code. It was
Code, right?
Yeah,
you curated it. Wow, that was a brilliant show.
Yeah, it's code1995.com.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Code was, well, it nearly killed me, but it sure was exciting. It nearly killed us all. But
wow.
It was a very exciting show. Yeah, that's when we met, I suppose. Yeah, it was an exciting time for some of you younger ones coming in here now. It's something that Michael Pierce and I talked about, Beyer Price have talked about as well. But that was the dawning of the first .com, and it was exciting as it can be. And I think what's going on now is exciting again. And I think we need to connect those dots out there for people, so that, because we don't want to make ourselves a fad. You always want to have a historical reference.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's great to hear from you. And see you.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it. Colin sent me an invitation, and you reached out to me originally to tell me about the group. And I've seen a little bit of your archived Zoom calls, Zoom sessions, and to get a feel for the group. So it's really an honor to be here, and it's I look forward to sharing my work at a future session.
You could post a link to if you have a link to your website or Instagram, feel free to paste them in the chat window so the people in the room can check them out as well.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that during the course of in a few minutes. Yeah, I was curious. I actually had a little bit of a follow-up question for Sue, if she's still on. Has she got Sue?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Oh, there you are. You're right next to me. Okay, I was looking all around. I was curious. You said you sold a couple of NFTs. What platforms did you use? What marketplace?
OpenSea with MetaMask.
Oh, OpenSea. Okay, great. I've been
Yes.
hearing good things about
Yeah,
OpenSea.
OpenSea is great because you only pay gas once, and then everything you mint after that is free. So it cost me $75 for the first time. That changes because of the way the gas fee is. I don't know exactly. I think it's how busy they are or something. So if you don't want to pay as much, you just wait a little while and it might go down or it might go up too. So, but yeah, just pay once and then the rest are free.
Sounds great. Sounds
Yeah,
great.
it is. It's really good. And you have to get on Twitter because everyone's on Twitter, like promoting their work, and that's where all the collectors and people that are interested are. So, and also Clubhouse, if you like that sort of thing.
I've heard about that. Yeah, I want to get on there.
Yeah. Oh, I can send you an invitation if you like.
Well, here's the catch. I'm on Android, so I understand I have to get an iPhone.
Bummer. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll be getting an iPhone, in a few
Yeah.
weeks. But I was thinking of doing it anyway, so now I'm really in.
I actually had a friend of mine that I reached out to. I was like, "Hey, do you have a spare iPad or iPhone I could use? Maybe, just to help somebody out real quick, maybe."
Yeah. It's a really great place to get like really up to date information. So there's a lot of crap as well, but you just got to try and find the right groups and just get on there. And I've met heaps of really nice people on there. So yeah, I recommend it.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
Wow, there's not enough time in the day. It's like, but it's exciting.
Anyone else have any questions or comments for Sue? Anybody? Anybody else? Because if not, Colin actually has an announcement to share with us.
So yeah, kind of riffing off the NFT discussion, I wanted to let you guys know that we started working with a gallerist and PR consultant in Greece, and she was kind of enthusiastic about the idea of us getting involved with the whole NFT phenomenon as a group in some ways. So I actually asked Ann Spalter, who spoke a few salons ago, if she'd be interested in curating an NFT show. She has been a panelist on Super Rare and has sold quite a number of NFTs on that platform. So out of all the people that I know involved in the group, she's certainly the authority. And I've just started to get involved in it myself. Actually dropped something on OpenSea as well. After looking at Rarible and some of these other platforms where literally the gas fee is more than what you're going to charge for the actual work. So I think OpenSea is a pretty good option. But yeah, so there's actually an open call out now. It's on the Techspressionism homepage. There's a link to it. But Anne also grabbed nftnowshow.com, and that redirects to some info about it. And I think it's like $15 to submit work for like 3 entries. But I'm probably going to put something out on the the next mailing. Like I did a coupon code for the first open call for the juried show, just for people who are getting on the list and stuff like that, to sort of waive it. And I think that's probably something we could do for that. But the submission is going to be JPEGs. But the NFTs themselves can be, they can be video or motion pieces. But the JPEG at this point is probably what's going to represent the NFT within the virtual gallery, which we're going to be using Kunstmatrix for the presentation. And then each piece will link off directly to the NFT, on whatever platform it's minted on. That's kind of like the way it's being conceptualized. And I think it's going to be much smaller scale than the juried show that's going to be coming up. And that is actually, we're looking at possibly, pushing that off until the fall, because this show has sort of just popped up, and it seems like this is really, what everybody is talking about right now. And it's a good opportunity, I think, for people to, explore the idea of tokenizing their art, and look at what what people can come up with. So certainly, I think Anne's contact information is on the call, but it's something that and she actually proposed that we time it so that it opens up during freeze week. So we can sort of, leverage the fact that a lot of people are just going to be online looking at art at that time, which is going to be early May. So yeah, that's that's kind of something that's just popped up, and hopefully, I think we started to get some entries, some submissions already, and but Anne is really the juror and the curator. I'm just sort of facilitating with the implementation. So, but it's exciting to be putting something together for this, and yeah, that's about it.
I think she also put it up at her, it's up at her Instagram site too, the call.
And on her Instagram and her Twitter.
Yeah, read the call though. It's not, she does have a call for things to go in she does say something about tying it to art history. So make sure you read the call.
Yeah, I added a link to it. There's a banner link now on Techspressionism.com's homepage. I figured I'd put something right there so it's visible, and it links off to a description, about the call. And yeah, I guess kind of the idea is that the work references some art historical, element. It doesn't necessarily have to be expressionism per se, as in the way that Techspressionism kind of, references that movement. It could be any art historical movement, but the idea is that basically it's work that's conceived of as art, since a lot of the NFTs that are circulating are more like sort of trading cards or collectibles, like things like cypherpunks or CryptoKitties. They're not necessarily conceived of as art pieces per se, as much as tokenized collectible, I guess, I don't know what you'd exactly call them, tokenized collectibles. So, I mean, what we're really looking for are works that are conceived of as art pieces. And I would probably venture to guess that, Anne is going to be more looking at work that's created specifically to be, conceived of as an NFT, not necessarily pre-existing work that's just, minted, if that makes sense.
I had a question about the process. You can submit JPEGs, and if your piece or pieces get accepted, at that point, is it for the artist to quickly mint it, or when does that happen, or do you mint it ahead of time and then submit it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, right from the get-go, I actually suggested to Anne that we ask artists to submit links to already minted NFTs, so there isn't any sort of period where they have to make the NFT. But her sort of response to that was, well, we want to also have a show where the work might be shown for the very first time when it opens. So how do we do that? So one sort of requirement is that there's a link to the artist's NFT platform of choice, and that we can see that there's some NFTs that have already been minted by that artist. So I think that process has to sort of be figured out by each individual artist prior to really submitting work, because it is pretty technically involved, or it can be. I posted a link in the chat to this publication that OpenSea put out called the NFT Bible. That's pretty comprehensive, but I think OpenSea is a really good option because, at least as far as some of the different, there's different ways that you can price your work or put it out there. One is to set a fixed price, and then you could also do an auction-based publication where the gas fees are actually paid by the purchaser. So that's a way of minting something basically with, I believe, a little upfront cost, but I think there still is an initial gas fee that needs to be paid to put the account together, or actually maybe to mint the initial first one. I think that might be more accurate. But yeah, so the work that's submitted doesn't necessarily need to exist as an NFT already, but I think that the artists submitting work to the show do need to demonstrate that they've already minted NFTs. You know, and I think that that's an important aspect. One thing I do believe you can do is you can actually mint something and have it be not for sale. You know, and I think that if, like Sue was saying, a lot of the sort of action happens on Twitter, where people are promoting their NFTs and driving traffic to it. So, I mean, if you mint something and you don't post links to it anywhere, it's not going to be getting much visibility. I mean, that's kind of just the fact of the matter is that the platforms at this point are favoring sort of artists that, you know, they're promoting artists that already have sort of a brand name value as NFT artists. You know what I mean? So if you mint something, I would say, you know, unless you're really putting it out there and spreading it through social media, it can probably be minted in a fairly sort of under the radar way, if that makes sense. I don't know if that answers your question or not, but
yeah, there's several options there that you indicated. So, but thanks for it's a lot clearer to me how it could work. Yeah.
I actually haven't done anything yet because I'm really thinking a lot about the whole scene, having been in it a long time, and I don't want to just jump in with something. I really want to kind of think about how, you know, what I jump in with. So I don't know. It's the time is nigh, but it's going to be here for a little bit. It might be where I like the discussions here, because strategy and how you think about your work and what you put up and when. Especially if you have different periods of work.
Yeah, I see a question from Giovanna, and that's a good question too, about, she said, I have an NFT with music, can I submit it? And if we submit the material to Anne, we may pay another gas fee, right? So yeah, I believe, you know, like from what I can understand, and you can definitely read the language in the call that she put together, she's looking for any kind of creative material that artists, you know, want to submit, and that would include, I would believe, you know, audiovisual work. Now, and as far as the gas fee goes, there's no gas fee involved in submitting work through the open call. You know, the gas fee would happen when the work is minted. So, you know, you can decide whether or not you want to mint the work in advance or not. And the cost of minting fluctuates with, you know, the level of activity on the Ethereum mainnet, which, you know, kind of also has to do with the price of Ethereum and all sorts of other factors, you know. So one thing to think about is, I believe with OpenSea, if you prep a whole bunch of work in advance and then you pay your upfront gas fee, you can mint like an entire collection of works, not having to pay a gas fee every single time. Sue probably knows more about this than I do, because I think she's definitely ahead of me in the fact that she's actually sold an NFT, which I have not. So maybe if you could let people know, like, about, you know, your process on OpenSea, that would be really informative.
Yeah, I uploaded work I'd already done that was quite small. So videos have to be under 100 meg, I think it is. And with OpenSea, you can have multiple collections. It doesn't cost extra. So I've divided mine into 2 collections, one for glitches and one for just digital art. Yeah, so far it's, yeah, you've only had to pay once. So yeah.
Cool. And you've minted stuff over like a period of time, and still it was under that initial gas fee?
Yeah. I've uploaded about
Cool.
20 pieces, I think. I just do one every now and again, and yeah, and then promote it on Twitter as much as possible without annoying too many people.
Right. Yeah, I know, like, some platforms are set up more like, you know, social networks like Rarible, where you can follow people and they follow you, and Super Rare is kind of more like that. And OpenSea is more like a database, correct? Like, you know, there aren't followers and things like that. It's more like just sort of an open database that's searchable, and that's across all different platforms, right? So anybody that's using an NFT, anyone that's minted anything that's on the Ethereum mainnet, right? Like would show up in an OpenSea search.
Yes, and I've also purchased work from other platforms, and it all shows on my OpenSea account. So I bought something from Wearable, I think it was, and I think I purchased something else from OpenSea. Yeah, and it's all in my collection. So
I had one other question now that we're on the topic of NFTs, and since you're sort of the authority in the Zoom room. Well, in this room you are.
Okay.
You know, so I know that some platforms you know, only support MetaMask, some platforms support Fortmatic also. Like, is it important to just use one wallet when you're minting across different platforms, or does that matter? You know, like and you know, like Steve Miller, who I think he's the person that bought your NFT, right? Like, you know, I was telling him, just go onto every platform and grab Steve Miller as a profile name.
I did that yesterday.
You know, and I would say to all the other artists that are on this call, you know, you don't need to actually set up like an Ethereum wallet or anything else like that on most of the platforms just to create a profile. So you could just grab your name, you know, on all the different platforms and just put a little picture up there and your bio if you want or whatever. But at least that protects your ability in the future to publish and mint on that platform, you know, especially for someone like Steve Miller, who I know that there's literally another Steve Miller who's an artist that lives near him. So, you know, if you have a very odd name, I mean, I've actually met another Colin Goldberg on a freelance job in New York City, which is really strange.
Wow.
Yeah, so you never know. But I think it's important, you know, if you're going to be doing NFT stuff, just to go on the main ones, you know, Rareable, Super Rare, Foundation. There's a bunch of them that are sort of the main ones, and just grab your name. That's probably a good starting point.
Colin, I'm going to get off this for 1 second, only because I don't want to forget before people leave. If there are any women who want to present at the March 30th, we're still in International Women's History. Of course, you can present. Women have presented here before many times. But if anybody would like to, you don't have to wait for me to come invite you. If you would like to present, should they come to me first, do you think, Colin and Devo? Or do you want them to come right to you? Or maybe we should go over how people submit to present.
Well, you know, I mean, if you wanna be sort of a point person, that'd be great. You know, I know that to your point about the Women's History Month too, that was something that Anne explicitly built into the call, was that, you know, female artists or artists identifying as women are especially encouraged to apply to the show. And, you know, that's part of, like, I think an important aspect of what we're doing as sort of a group is trying to really be, you know, gender equal and as internationally sort of inclusive as possible. It's something that we have the ability to try to do by making sort of, you know, concrete decisions about what information we put out, curatorial decisions and stuff like that. So, you know, certainly I think that it's part of, you know, this being sort of a social sculpture of sorts, and having some level of awareness, you know, and the ability to make change.
I'm just going to put, I do large works on the computer, so I'm often on the desktop, on my laptop. So rather than go through Instagram, if anyone who's interested can email me at roz@rozdiamond.com for presenting on March 30th. I think 3 people is actually really great. I mean, maybe we could do more, but how do people feel? I think the 3 is great. And then it gives us a lot of time to talk about NFTs and everything else and AI, and there's a lot going on.
Yeah, 3 sounds good.
Yeah. So I'm just putting in my email. So for March 30th, I'll go ahead and be the channel for setting that up with hopefully 3 more women who will present. And if you presented before and you have something unique and different that you want to focus on, go ahead and present again. That'd be great.
And anyway. I just want to thank Roz, you know, for sort of spearheading you know, this and also like the interview series, and Davo, you know, for stepping up to the mic and like pretty much running these salons, you know, as our moderator. That's like what it's all about, you know. Otherwise, you know, I'll have a nervous breakdown and probably my wife will divorce me because I'm literally like on my devices all the time thinking and talking about this stuff. And, you know, I have to unplug periodically. And certainly like I welcome anybody that has an initiative or an idea just to like, you know, to run with it. You know what I mean? The sort of philosophy that I have when it comes to this is that Techspressionism is as open source as I can make it. That is, you know, I want it to be brought into common usage, not trademarked and copyrighted and turned into a 501c3 corporation. You know, I want it to be the opposite of that. So like someone wants to just put together a Techspressionist show or whatever else, to me, that's just in keeping of the idea of it being brought into common usage. So that's sort of my 2 cents on it.
Thank you too, Colin. You know, I was talking to Colin on the phone last week briefly, and he said something like, okay, I gotta go, I'm fried. And I thought, I bet you are. I mean, he's been doing a lot of work out there. And I know you don't want to make it into a corporation, but the fact that you have that experience, and a lot of us have talked about how we work in other things. I say bring that into what we're doing, and it makes a big difference. I mean, his incredible tech, you know, expertise and things has made a difference in the way this thing is launching, but with an openness that is really wonderful. So thanks to you too.
Sure. And yeah, like I know Sue mentioned, you know, working in an agency. So I've been there. Roz has been there.
Oh,
you know, I mean, that's what's helping to support my studio and pay my daughter, to feed my daughter to help, you know, fund this operation is like, you know, doing the sort of client work that, you know, we all need to do or whatever. But I mean, and it's funny too, because I've often found that some of the most amazing, you know, personal work that I've seen has been when I've been in agencies and just the stuff that these freelancers are doing, like in their spare time, like, oh, just messing around with this thing. And it's like,
Absolutely.
whoa, look at that. You know what I mean? Because like they're doing, you know, they're doing stuff for these corporations where, you know, it has to be exactly perfect to a T. It's not going to be acceptable if it's not. So then when it's time to go and do your own thing, you know, there's more sort of creative freedom. So, you know, one upside of corporate, I don't know, can't even call it corporate America now, corporate Earth.
Corporate, or yes, of course. Yeah, and yeah, to that point, when people say, I do my day job, of course, which we all hated, we said we did, but when people say, oh, have you always worked as an artist? I say, yes, I have. When I was doing the new media divisions or working at the Wall Street Journal and head of creative storytelling, I was doing my art. And, you know, I think we need to take back that mantle a little bit. You know, it's it's, you know, only the people who have like 5 homes and, you know, all over the world, the top 2%, can really say, I think that's really a stigma we have to get rid of, because, you know, in the Renaissance, I mean, skilled craftsmanship and painting and everything was all one big deal. And, you know, some of the great artists would have their great pieces they would do. And then they were, you know, Jesus was Coca-Cola. I mean, I like Jesus a lot, but he really was. I mean, that was the icon of the day. And that was the advertising and the media and for all the great, you know, those periods and of course in other periods, but it was never separated as if, oh, you're not really an artist if you're working to feed yourself. So I've gotten in trouble talking about, but these barriers need to come down. And I think this media brings them down in a way that's very exciting. So onward and forward.
You know, I normally would have more to say, but I had a handful of walnuts and raisins in my mouth, so I'm sorry. But yeah, now as far as this project goes, it has really been an amazing experience so far, just from the starting point that I came from with this. And, you know, seeing it grow and become what it has come to now and how it continues to move, it's still exciting. Like, I'm still probably as excited as I was when Colin first contacted me. It's like today, just about. Like it's an amazing movement, it's an amazing community that we've got here now. And yeah, we're doing big things. We're trying to do big things. And I lost my thought about where I was going.
You're young to be doing that, Devo.
I also have the problem of thinking too much too. So like I could be thinking about all sorts of things and then lose track of where the direction that I was going. So that's also a problem.
Oh, Davo, so there's probably a bunch of people on here who don't know about our Discord or even what Discord is. You want to just do a quick intro on that too?
Yeah, I got 5 minutes. Sure. So if you guys were not in the know, we have something called a Discord server. Now, if you are completely unfamiliar with the term or the platform in general, the closest thing I can compare it to is if you remember things like AOL Instant Messenger or Yahoo Instant Messenger from way back in the early 2000s. Like it's an instant messaging platform, but it's a lot more sophisticated. Think those platforms, but like on steroids. It's a lot closer to like a mixture of like Yahoo Instant Messenger plus something like Zoom. So it has the capabilities to do streaming or live sharing like this. You also have the ability to share images or text or whatever, pretty much within that platform itself. You can actually access our Discord server through the main site for Techspressionism.com. If you scroll all the way at the bottom, you see like the social media icons like Twitter, Instagram. The one on the far right that kind of looks like a little robot, like if you like ever played Space Invaders or something like that, it kind of resembles that kind of little alien looking tech robot thing. That's that icon. That's the Discord link. And it will take you to either download the app if you don't have it, if you're on your phone, or it'll take you to download it or open it up in a web browser if you're on your desktop. It is something that can be downloaded. You don't have to. There is a web app version, so you can just use it natively in your web browser if that floats your boat. But it's just another place to connect with us if you don't want to wait to reach out to somebody on Instagram or wait for another salon to come around. You can reach out to somebody there because a good chunk of us are there on Discord now. We might not always be on there like consistently, but somebody will more than likely see your messages on Discord if you go there and leave a message. Actually I can drop a link to that to get the process started if you guys are interested. So give me 1 second.
Oh, if anyone's like, I'm periodically on Clubhouse, but if anyone's interested in starting a Techspressionism room on Clubhouse, I would say go for it, because like I've been sort of toying with the idea of that, but at that point, I will officially become a robot and like never leave my studio. So, and my wife is like already like pretty much not very enthused about Clubhouse because I've been on it too much.
Where's the quality time, Colin? Where's the quality time?
Hey, I was chilling with my kid. She got the training wheels off this weekend, trying to unplug as best I can.
Well, I want to echo what Sue had said in her talk about finding her people. I really, really feel that. And the more time that I've been on here, I have to say that this is really like a home community for me, and I'm really grateful for that. Everybody's inspiring me, and I enjoyed interviewing Roz and being interviewed by Roz, and have enjoyed the salon meetings. It's more than just technical stuff here for me. There's so many deep thinkers here, and I find you all just really, really inspiring and interesting. And I love the worldwide community. I just think that's an incredible resource that we share with each other and give to one another. And I'm really grateful for that. And one last thing, I have a solo show coming in September here in Phoenix. And I'm planning to have a number of augmented reality aspects to my show. And if there is anybody here who might want to contribute or help me with any of the augmented reality aspects to my show, contact me. And I'd love to maybe work with a few artists that might want to contribute something. I will credit everybody. And if not, then I'm just going to, do it all myself. But I've been really impressed by some of the animations and some of the artists doing augmented reality. So, and anyway, so just wanted to add that in. Thank you.
No problem.
I also wanted just to chime up and say, I agree about the volunteering for you, Colin, because it's a lot to carry, but you've been doing an amazing job. I would volunteer in 3 seconds, except for the health. So I can't stay consistent, but I want you to know I'm working every art angle I can in the background. These are art historians, reviewers, the whole gamut. And I'm also have a solo show coming up in April 2022. So it's going to be a busy month. And I'm working on tagging my animations with a special acknowledgement to Techspressionism, just so my viewing audience gets to see it in a different format. So I want you to know there are people in the background working for you too.
No, I really appreciate that. And, the hashtag is really how this all has come about, which is really remarkable. I mean, it was sort of a science experiment, really, to see, hey, how about, we put this out there as a hashtag and then put a site together with, some language about use the hashtag, you'll get, seen in a search and we'll add you to the site, and that seems to have worked pretty well so far. I think we're coming up to around 12,000 posts on Instagram with the hashtag, which is pretty amazing, and I'm pretty much, all the artists, a good percentage actually came in through the initial open call, but, a lot of them, the ones that are, especially from non-English speaking countries, came in through the use of the hashtag. And I think that that's, something that's, really interesting. So, and I really believe, like, before there were what we call internet memes, there was memetics, which was, started by this guy, Richard Dawkins. And he based this around genetics. And it's sort of the mental counterpart to genetics, the way that ideas spread. And, neurophysiologists and people like that sort of dismissed it as a pseudoscience. But I actually believe that, it's a pretty good model of how things spread, how ideas spread, is that they replicate. And the internet is a pretty good petri dish of allowing things to replicate. So the more that the hashtag is used, the more that the word is used, especially that the number of times that the word is actually said and another person hears it. Because kind of the creepy thing about memetics is it views humans as hosts for memes, which is odd, but you can Google memetics and find out more about that and think what you want about it.
Interesting enough, there was that was actually a concept in a video game. That's actually how I became familiar with the term memetics before I even knew that was like an actual thing that somebody had written about and studied. Which video games
what's
are
the
great.
name of the video game?
It's Metal Gear Solid Revengeance. Yeah, it's part of the Metal Gear Solid franchise. Which that's chock full of philosophical stuff, like just the whole franchise anyway. But anyway, before I go on nerding out about video game stuff, as I am wont to do many times, we are hitting we are sitting at 4:03 p.m. Eastern time. So I think this would be a good point to start wrapping things up. Thank you for stopping by. It's been a pleasure to speak with all of you and get your ideas, your thoughts, your feelings, and all that good stuff. And great idea put together by Roz with the whole presentations for Women's History Month, because that's extremely important. And I almost kind of forgot about that the last meeting we had this month. So I was like, oh wait, it is. So thank you. And yeah.
I already have one person for next month. So for the next meeting. And remember, you guys, it's every 2 weeks.
Yep.
And again, Davo, how do people spread if they want to come to the meeting? I just think people forget sometimes. How do they
so
get on your email list? Is that at Techspressionism? I think it is .com.
Yeah, Techspressionism Techspressionism Collab is my email. As far
but
as
I mean, if they want to get on the email list to get invited to invitation, isn't that at Techspressionism.com at the website? They can go to it.
There's a mailing list sign up in the site footer. So at this point, it's open to anyone on the mailing list. And also I encourage you guys to, personally invite any artist that you think might be interested in it, because that's how a lot of the people came in, is sort of through word of mouth, like, oh, I have a friend who would totally dig this or whatever. Actually, Sue, I found out about you because of Steve, and he tweeted I bought my first NFT, and I'm like, who is it? And I looked at the tweet and I saw the link and I was like, wow, she should come present, so yeah.
Yep. Okay, great. This has been
All
fun.
right. It has.
Bye.
Thank you very much. And we are closing out in 3, 2, 1.
Bye.